My name is Grandmaster Jesse Cry, and I'm here to give you an overview of the Chess Dojo website. The dojo was founded on 3 principles. Number 1, you need to play classical games and review those games in order to improve. Number 2, you need a program to follow. You don't want to be following this influencer, then this one. No, you need to be following a set program. You need to be able to trust that program. And number 3 is what we call the principle of plus minus equal. That is, you have to have somebody above you, someone you can trust, and that can also just be the program itself, but players above you who will give you advice. Then you have equal people in your cohort with whom you were going to spar and talk about books, ideas with. And then finally, a minus. And it's not just for their benefit that you are helping them. By helping them, you are forced to be clear on what your own ideas are. Okay, let's look at the site. We are going to begin in the training program itself, and you can get to this window by clicking either the dojo icon or the training program tab. Now, there's a lot going on here, but it's really pretty simple and beautiful. First thing is, it's very nice to say something about yourself. That way, when I or somebody else is looking at your profile, I can kind of see where you are in life, also geographically. Other people can too. Down here, we have what we call the heat map. And you can see I've been doing a lot of red. That's openings recently. But if you scroll back, you'll see that I've done all kinds of things since we've had this heat map going on. The heat map keeps you honest. It shows when you were working, when you were not. You can set your own goals in the heat map. For example, I have mine set for 15 hours a week and different hours for different days. You can set it for whatever you think is appropriate. At a minimum, you should be doing at the minimum 3 hours a week. That's probably not enough, but that's what we say as the minimum. Okay, here you can see the rating. This is very important. The number of classical games I've played in the last year. I have failed, as you can see. I should have 40. So this will count the number of games, classical games you have played in the last year. Very important to try to get that minimum of 40. And then this shows the different buckets and how you've done with those buckets. Down below, we have the different badges, things that you have attained in terms of skills. Okay, then we go back up here. Here we see the daily view of things that I need to do in a day. Now, I want to stress, it might come up that say this book, let's say I don't have. So maybe I'll skip it. Boom, I can hit that skip button, and that will then repopulate my window with something else. This is an endgame thing, so it'll probably replace it with something endgame. I'm not going to get out of the endgame as an example, but if I don't have something or it's not available to me at the moment, I can skip it. Okay, down below, we have the weekly view of stuff that I should be doing. That helps me see and organize my time. Now you can see I might have less on Thursday and Friday. That's because on Thursday and Friday, I usually have less time. And the algorithm knows that I have less time on Thursday and Friday, so it's not going to give me that much on those days. Further down, we have the full training plan. I can click on any of these things to give me detailed instructions on what the total mass of things I need to do in order to graduate. Now, I want to say, you do not have to do all the things in order to graduate. The idea of the program was we're going to lay out all of the things that if you were stuck at a plateau, we believe you would make it to the next level if you did them. If you make it faster, that's fine. Just move on. You don't have to finish everything, right? But here is going to be the list of all the tasks. Now, something I want to point out with classical games played. If I click on this, very important, something we've discovered through the dojo is that playing longer games, thinking for a longer time, is a skill that takes time to develop. And we have seen that under 800, in our under 800 cohort, that 30 plus 0 as a minimum time control is fine. So that 40 games a year will take longer for somebody like me, where I have to play at least a 90-30 time control. Okay, and as you can see, the time control goes up as you move up in rating. Okay, good. Now, up at the top here, you can see I can click on ratings, and I can see my rating graph from these variety of different tests and FIDE USCF. Notice that I have hit here preferred as the FIDE rating. That is something you can change, but you should put the rating system that you play the most often in, that you feel the most comfortable with. So for example, if you play all the time on Lichess, boom, you link your Lichess rating. Same thing at Chess.com, or if it's the German rating system, put those. In general, what we see is when players on the lower cohort, they're generally using an online rating, and then as they go up, they will begin more and more to use an OTB, over the board rating. After 2000, we require you to just use an over the board rating. Okay, next thing, very important, here's the Games tab. You can also reach this with this Games tab up here. The most important folder for everyone is going to be the My Games folder. That's where you are going to put your own analyses of your game, right? Once you do the analysis, you have to hit publish, boom, and it's going to go into the My Games folder. You can, of course, have as many folders as you want, but that one's very critical for yourself, and also for me or any of the other senseis who go looking at your profile. If you graduate, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, then I'm going to come in and look at your most recent game, right, and the annotations you've done on that. Also important, clubs. Clubs are great. These are my clubs here, and we have hundreds of clubs, and the clubs serve a variety of purposes. The most important of which is to have a local connection to other dojos. Let's say you're, I don't know, in Austin, right? And you've just joined the dojo. You don't know anybody, might be in the dojo, they might not be. So you go to the Austin club, you sign up, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's a bunch of dojos right in my area. And it's not only a cool social thing, but you can get together and do sparring and other chess-related work, like maybe reading books, studying games that are part of your cohort. It also is cool for me when I'm looking at somebody's profile because it helps me gain a sense of who they are. Are they part of the chess dads and moms? Are they 50 plus? What are they, right? Gives me a sense of their demographic. Okay, good. Now, this is also cool, the activity. This gives you a breakdown of what you have done over your Chess Dojo life. And here's a timeline. These are things, just if I scroll back, I can see what I've done. Okay, let's now move to the news feed. This is cool because here's all my clubs. Also, I can follow particular people, and I can then, this is then populating what my friends have done, and I can go make a comment. I can give them props. Beautiful thing to do. Also, this is where we get to look at the graduations. And I usually do the graduation show every Wednesday. Sometimes it extends to Thursday because there's so many people, but generally 12 Eastern on Wednesday is when I do it. And I'll go through all of these players' profiles and one of their games to kind of maybe give some helpful advice about how they can progress to the next level, but also celebrate their achievement. So you can see for tomorrow, because tomorrow's a Wednesday, I have at least 24 people that I'm going to review their games and profiles. Might be more than 24. We don't know yet. Okay, good. The next thing, the scoreboard, this is really cool. So here I can go look at my cohort. Those are the people here at kind of nearish the top of the dojo. I can go to the full dojo. This is really nice because if I can look at any given cohort here. I can also look at given clubs. And another cool thing I can do with the full dojo is I can organize the entire dojo by score, so how much work somebody's done, how much time they have put in, what have they done in the last 7 days, what their rating change has been, right? So many different ways for me to look at who's active, who's doing what in the dojo. These are graduation badges, by the way, and you can see Tristan here has graduated 3 times. Amazing. Also here in the Scoreboard tab, you can look at your followers, you can search users, very important, and also statistics is cool. There you can see what is the average rating gain of a dojo, or how many players are in a given cohort. All kinds of information like that you can find in there. Okay, next, super important and super cool, we have these tournaments, and to me, the gem of the dojo is our round robin tournaments. And I'll just click over here. This is the, just as an example, the 1,000 to 1,100 tournament. So, as you can see with our minimum time controls for 1,000, 1,100, we're saying 30 plus 30 is the minimum time control. Now, I want to stress, if you're playing in that tournament, you can agree with your opponent to play a longer time control. It's simply that we're saying here, this is the minimum that you need to do to play in this round robin. Here we see the wait list, and once it fills up, boom, it's automatically going to start. And you can see just for this one cohort, we have several ongoing tournaments. So this is something that's happening all the time. And the cool thing about these kinds of games is it's hard to get longer games online in general. It's also the temptation for people to cheat is strong in those kinds of games. Here we have a kind of culture of, that's not the teachers, the cheaters generally aren't going to be at the dojo. Plus, here you're generally going to get a post-mortem with your opponent. And that's part of the program. We very much encourage it, and it really helps you see the game from the other player's point of view. Okay, so we also have the Open Classical. There you can play against players who maybe are higher or lower than you. Beautiful. Also the Dojo Liga. Check it out. Now the games. I want to come back to the games. I talked to you a little bit about it before. Obviously there's my games. And if I hit Analysis Board, I can load a game as a PGN. I can do a starting position, custom position, and so on. I can also, like, let's say I want to load my games that I've played from online. I can go on there and you can even search up, some game you played on August 30th of last year or whatever you want to do. One thing I want to share with starting position here is we have quite a lot of fun stuff going on here. One is I can really hunt a player down here by we call this the repertoire spy. I can type in their name here on chess.com. Then I can do the same for Lichess. It will give me all of their games. And then I can go through and predict what they're going to do because it'll give me a tree of all of their moves. It's kind of evil. It's kind of evil. This is the Dojo database. So all of the games that have been submitted by dojoers and analyzed by dojoers. And so you can go and find those games. Also look through the tree that you see here. Masters database basically is what it says. All the master games, and we have millions and millions of games. Beautiful resource. Lichess, all of the games ever played in Lichess. Then we also have the table base. So anytime you have an end game, you can look here, and that's just going to tell you the truth. It's going to tell you the truth, but I believe it's 5 or 6 pieces left on the board. Okay, great. Next up, we have the calendar. This is very important. We're going to delete that. We don't need that anymore. And here, you can see all kinds of things going on in Dojo Land, and you can also post your own wishes. You want to spar with somebody, and you got this time slot available. You can post here or in the Discord that you are looking for somebody to do that. Right? Then for example, you'll see things like the program graduates going on. I'm doing a workshop for beginning level players here. All kinds of things are happening on this calendar. Okay, next up, material. This is really cool. we have our courses such as opening courses. These are our tactics tests. We're working on the tactics tests. And so that's something that we've already done, but we're continually evolve it. The idea of the tactics test is, as opposed to other sites, we're going to give you, a bunch of problems and a wildly inflated rating. We want to give you a very clean sense of where you are tactically, right? And eventually, hopefully, we're going to get some other indicators to do with other things. Actually, I should mention we have a great time management rating that we now have, because so many players, especially at beginning levels, move too fast, make impulsive decisions, so we are able to give you a rating for that skill. Also, players who are strong often move too slow, and we also can reflect that in the time rating. Books, that's just our list of recommended books. A lot of players ask us, what books do you recommend? Boom, it's all there. The sparring position. Every cohort has sparring position, end game, middle game, and they're all set up there, ready to use. You just click and boom, you're set. You just send the link to your sparring partner and you can go. You can also spar our positions with bots, and that's, you can see our guide to bots tells you how to do that. Model annotations. We did a book actually called How to Analyze Your Games. There we put a lot of the model annotations. So every cohort, is different. It's different to analyze a game when you're 600 to 700 than when you are 2,000 to 2,100. And the point is, we wanted to show what a good annotation at each cohort looks like. And it's there. You can also see our book, How to Analyze Your Games. We wrote a little bit about how to analyze your games there too. Games to memorize. Every cohort has a game to memorize. And that is kind of like a solitaire chess. You can use it to prove that you've memorized the games. Rating conversions, very important. There's all kinds of rating systems, right? Lichess, Chess.com, FIDE, etc. And the dojo had to create a rating system that translated all of those, into one. So that's what that is. Discord, that's simply the way we use to communicate with each other. And so that's that. And of course, we have a Twitch channel. We often do regular streams on there. Pretty soon, we're going to begin covering the FIDE qualifier. And so we're going to be busy there. Also, YouTube, check it out. We're always producing videos and content there. Patreon, oh, we need some money. We need some money. Boom. Give us a little bit of money, please. All right. As I mentioned, we have the clubs already. And you can definitely also form your own club. One of the cool things is there's so many small communities out there, and I very much encourage you, if you live in a small town, you might be surprised that you might find a dojo around you. So that's the kind of club you can do. Also, if you are part of a team, it's great to do a club, because then you can see your team's progress, who's done the work, who still needs to do what, right? You can see it all at a glance in that scoreboard of what it looks like. The blog is self-explanatory. We do a dojo digest once a month. We also have other news coming out. Boom, that's that. And the shop also pretty self-explanatory. The courses are all free for dojo members, but if you're not a dojo member, you can buy a course. We sometimes have coaching stuff going on. As I mentioned, I'm doing a workshop. And we have merch. You can buy a dojo hat or a shirt. And of course, you can donate to us. So, in a nutshell, I tried to keep it brief. That is an overview of the Chess Dojo and its training program.